Sometimes we get caught up in the idea of needing to make huge changes in our lives. We think that if we want to be successful, we need to take massive actions. But what if I told you that the secret to lasting change doesn't lie in the big leaps, but in the tiniest, seemingly insignificant steps? I want to tell you a story about something called atomic habits. Imagine for a second that you're a tiny particle in an atom. Small, right? But even though you're small, you have immense power. You might be one piece of something bigger, but over time, all those little pieces can come together to create something huge. That's how habits work. They're small, atomic even, and they might not seem important at first, but the more you stack them up, the more they grow. They start with just a little change, just 1%. And here's the incredible thing. If you keep improving just 1% every day, by the end of the year, you're 37% better. Sam Sibchil Piocento. Can you imagine? It's hard to see that change right away, but over time, those tiny changes compound into something massive. Let me explain. Let me take you to a story about a cycling team. This isn't just any cycling team. It's the British cycling team, led by coach Dave Brailsford. Now the team was struggling. They weren't winning major races, but instead of focusing on drastic changes, Brailsford asked one simple question. What small improvements can we make? So they started tweaking little things. The riders started wearing better clothes to improve aerodynamics. They adjusted their bike seats for comfort. They even took steps to make sure the athletes washed their hands frequently to avoid getting sick. These weren't huge, life-changing shifts, but over time, these tiny changes added up. And guess what? The team went on to win multiple Tour de France titles. It wasn't about one big change. It was about 1,000 little changes that all compounded into one massive victory. This is where it gets interesting. You see, we all have goals, big dreams. But here's the thing. Goals are great, but they don't get us there alone. It's the systems that make the difference. A goal is like saying, I want to lose 20 pounds. But a system is about building the habits that make losing those 20 pounds inevitable. It's not about having a goal of losing weight. It's about creating a system of eating healthy, exercising, and taking care of yourself every day. Now let's talk about something that might make you uncomfortable. Identity. The stories we tell ourselves shape the actions we take. And that's the real secret to habit change. It's not about what you want to achieve. It's about who you want to become. Think about it. If you want to be a healthy person, you don't just say, I want to lose weight. You start saying, I am someone who makes healthy choices. When you shift your identity, the actions you take start aligning with who you truly believe you are. So instead of saying, I want to save money, you start telling yourself, I am someone who is financially responsible. And guess what happens? You begin making choices that reflect that belief. Let's pause for a moment and talk about something else. A concept I like to call the plateau of latent potential. Picture this. You've got a block of ice in a room. You start heating the room, but at first the ice doesn't melt. You increase the temperature, and still no change. But just as you think nothing is happening, the ice reaches a tipping point, and suddenly it begins to melt rapidly. This is what happens with habits. In the beginning, the effects of your efforts may be invisible, but eventually those small actions will create a breakthrough. You'll start seeing the results of everything you've been doing behind the scenes. So here's the key takeaway. Success isn't about making giant changes. It's about small, consistent habits that, over time, compound into something incredible. The magic isn't in the end goal. The magic is in the daily actions we take that align with the person we want to become. The real trick to success is not trying to do it all at once, but showing up every day, making small improvements, and sticking with it. Even tiny actions matter. It's these small habits that will eventually create massive changes in your life. So the next time you think a change is too small to matter, remember atomic habits, small and steady, are the secret to transforming your life. Just take one small step today and watch where it leads tomorrow.